Living a bulletproof life. How can you make sure that that which you have that unshakable certainty, unwavering confidence, that alignment, right? We say, well, you can't control your environment. What if you don't need to? What if you go into that place of, I don't need to control my environment because I have a bulletproof way of living, a bulletproof life. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I and so many of my clients have experienced this place of, I seemingly have everything and everything's perfect and amazing, and I spend my time building that and cultivating that, and then something happens and life pulls the rug from under you. And you realize it's not as bulletproof as you thought it was. Maybe it's a death, maybe it's a heartbreak. Those moments where you really realize that, wow, nothing matters and everything can just be taken away from me. That is not in line with what I said at the beginning, though. I'm telling you about how to create a bulletproof life. How to make sure that no matter the circumstances, you are there connected, centered, grounded, rooted, and you can create more of that. You can create and regenerate that stability, that abundance, that connection, and that freedom. So if you want to know how to do all of that, because it is absolutely possible. The reason I'm making this video is because I don't want anyone to struggle the way that I did. I don't want anyone to experience that depression that I went through, that seemingly picture perfect life and feeling miserable on the inside. So if you want to learn how to build a truly bulletproof life, let's dive right in. So you're here if you want to build something that actually lasts, if you want to have this bulletproof life. What does that really mean? So for us to really understand what that means, I have to explain to you what the opposite of that is, and what most people live like, right? What we go through life building, creating. We try to accumulate, let's say, wealth, and this is not one of those videos of you can buy, happiness and it's all, that doesn't matter. You can. It's not that, you have to be spiritual or abundant financially or wealthy. That's absolutely not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about here is the attachment to it. So I'm going to begin by sharing a metaphor used by Franz Kafka in one of his novels that was, most people are like cockroaches. We go living a life of a cockroach, which means a cockroach has this shield, right? The way its body is made, that it's hard to penetrate it, but once you do, it's done. Mammals, on the other hand, are skeletons on the inside. So yes, we're easily wounded. We can get a cut or, we can bleed right away. However, we're okay and it's more sustainable long-term because our skeleton is within. So to really injure us, to really hurt us, it takes more effort. And he addressed the fact that most people, a lot of people, go through life living like cockroaches, believing that we're shielded, we're guarded, we're invincible. But in reality, we're all gooey inside, and it's a really scary place to be, when you're actually faced with that mortality, when you're faced with death or heartbreak or health condition, when you really realize that I'm not invincible, and all these things that I've been creating on the outside, they don't actually matter. Now, I'm going to show you how you can absolutely appreciate all those things, and because this is where people go into one extreme and the other. All these material things matter, and the way, the little things and the way I live my life. Two, nothing matters, and it's only the bigger picture. There's actually a beautiful place of balance between those two. You can enjoy all of those material things, all of those things that you came here to experience, right? In this physical body, in this human form. Those are fun, those are good. And you can also maintain your connection. It's not an either or. So going a little bit into, for you to understand where I'm coming from with this, I want to share a little bit of my story of why I'm creating this video, why those keys that I want to share with you of how is it that we live a bulletproof life. I was definitely adaptable. Okay, so growing up, I grew up around the world because one of my parents worked in an embassy, so I was traveling around every every time I was taken out of my environment, and this enabled me to be adaptable, to be flexible, to learn the patterns, to see how is it that I can integrate, how can I adapt. And it had its good moments. So I was definitely adaptable. I was definitely somebody who, okay, we can move on from life, and just something happens, it's okay, shift the circumstances, we can create a new one. Like, you create your own happiness because you have to when the environment keeps changing. I learned from a young age not to rely on the outer environment because it's not stable. It will keep changing. I rely on myself because that is what remains stable. Me, how I adapt, the skills that I acquire. So this is definitely something that I had from an early age. And you would think that when shit hits the fan, when you have this big event, something that just shatters your heart, if you grow up from this place of it's okay, just move on to the next thing, that you would be fine. And I thought so too, and I was, because I was bypassing. A lot of times when we are faced with a big event, the mind, in order to survive, the nervous system shuts down. We go into bypassing. We go into, well, that's okay. Or we go into the analytical mind of, how do we make the most of this? How do we move on without fully feeling our feelings, without fully going through the experience? And this is what happened to me. So they say be greater than your environment, right? Because your environment shifts and changes, but you are there trying to maintain this persona. And I'm really going into right now what it means to not have a bulletproof life. So seemingly the ego has this illusion of I'm strong, I'm invincible, I've got it all. But those things are not sustainable. So I'm just painting a picture of what it means to not have a bulletproof life, okay? So like I said, I moved around a lot and I was adaptable, and it seemed like I was definitely building a bulletproof life. And I was doing 2 degrees in 2 different universities in 2 different countries, okay? And I was flying from one to the other to just kind of have all bases covered in case I needed for the future. So seemingly, and this came from my upbringing, I was building a bulletproof life. And then I got married and I moved to Switzerland, and again, it seemed like picture perfect everything. And I have 2 kids, and it's just this beautiful image. And inside, I was dying, and I had no idea. I had no idea until my favorite person passed away very suddenly. One morning, a regular morning, nothing out of the ordinary, I was expected to call my dad, as I do most days. And instead, at around 7 a.m., I got a call from my godmother, who doesn't usually call me, saying that he died. And now, the seemingly bulletproof living life Anna that I was, got a ticket, went to the funeral, felt, okay, what are those tangible things that we can do? What is it? What would he have wanted? Gather up some of the things from his home. I was there for my mom, supporting her, even though they've been divorced for many, many years before I was born. It was still a really close connection. So I was there, kind of not going into my feelings, processing this on okay, this is what we have to do, this is what has to be done, never fully feeling my feelings. And it seemed fine because, again, people change, people come and go. This is what I learned growing up. Circumstances change, but you are there, sturdy, stable, and you keep going. Just keep going. As so many teachers teach, just keep going. It wasn't until around a year after his passing, around the first year of his death anniversary, that I really could feel breaking down. My mind wasn't able to just keep going. I really realized, and around that time after he passed away, I could really feel this emptiness, and I started filling it with people and situations that I was just really craving, and even though back then I couldn't understand why that was happening. Around my second pregnancy, which was a few years before that, about 2-3 years, I started having these pains in my back, and right after my dad passed away, they intensified. It got so bad I started seeing doctors. I went to an MRI scan and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. And there was just so many, everybody had their own opinion of what they could be, but nobody really knew for sure. And I started understanding that something is going wrong. Like my body's starting to fall apart. I'm starting to have different interests. My mind was really just shifting. And logically, you would think, well, okay, it's just adapting to this new thing that happened, to a new level of living, to a new way of being, because that was a significant shift of this person passing away, somebody who was really, really important to me. And my nervous system was just adapting. Yes, it was. But it's those big events that that makes us realize how our life is not bulletproof. This event made me realize that even though it was beautiful on the outside and I had 2 kids and a perfect relationship that seemingly provided everything that I needed, I was miserable on the outside. And it didn't provide me everything that I needed. I realized that I was so disconnected from myself, that my father was this masculine energy in my life, that he was this rock, even though I was never emotionally available when he was alive, I wasn't able to communicate deeply with him. He was that sense of security, that sense of, I'm okay, and no matter what happens, I'm okay. He was that bulletproof shield. And when that went away, it made me realize just how much I didn't have it within me. It made me realize how much some of the dynamics in my life just they weren't working because they weren't in alignment with who I was. From that experience, fast forward a year after his death, a little bit more, I started experiencing severe depression. I started romanticizing suicide of just, what's the point of this? What's the point of being here? I realized that as much as I was trying to fill the void and getting more things that are, okay, I feel unfulfilled. Maybe I should go down my bucket list. And I did. I went to Iceland. I saw the Northern Lights. It felt amazing. And I kept feeling empty. I kept feeling like, what is the point? With every goal reached, I didn't feel more fulfilled. I felt more empty because I thought that that was my solution, that if I have this, I'll feel good. Why don't I feel good? And if I have 2 kids in this picture perfect life, I feel good. Why don't I feel good? So this idea of, if I have enough money, my life will be bulletproof. No. If I have this perfect relationship and this partner in my life will be bulletproof. No. If I have this perfect home, if I have these vacations, no. And the reason I'm sharing this with you, the reason that I actually decided to make this digestible, make this applicable, make this something that you can actually utilize in your own life. I will be making 6 videos, the 6 keys to creating a bulletproof life for yourself. Something that doesn't depend on circumstances, and not in this way of how I do it or how the people that come to me, those clients that often do it, of as long as my outer world is okay and I have this bulletproof plan of, if this happens, I have a plan B, and this happens, like we have all these plans and these drills. That's not control. That's the illusion of control. That's the mind trying to say, it's okay, we're safe and we're all right. And first of all, this doesn't last. And second of all, this enables you to live a really empty life, because the truth is, our ego, the mind, it's not wired for happiness. I know. You would think that's like, well, no, I want to be better and I want to be happier. You don't. The ego is wired for control, for comfort. I know this environment, it seems familiar, this is where we're staying at. And it doesn't matter if this is not the happiest, most fulfilled version of my life. It doesn't matter if I'm not living my purpose of, like, why did I come here? Why did I come into this body? It doesn't matter. We just want to tiptoe to our grave so that we can start all over again afterwards. Don't get me wrong. This is not one of those get out of your comfort zone and just push through it and keep going. Like I said, this is definitely not a keep going video. This is not getting out of our comfort. This is that connection of, I can feel rooted, grounded, centered, like a tree. And those branches are also here to expand. They're here to explore, to evolve, to create something more. Some people will teach you that purpose of life, that what makes you feel good is knowing what you want, is reaching for it more and more and more. And that is true in a sense, but not when it comes from a place of emptiness. A tree that is not rooted, that doesn't have those thick roots reaching to the center of the earth, it can't grow up. To grow up, you have to grow down as well. And this is what the next 6 videos will be about. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss, and make sure you put on the notifications so you don't miss the next videos. They will be coming out within the next few days. The reason that I'm sharing this is because it's really partly to honor my dad. He was a really joyful person. He definitely had wealth when he was living for most of his life until about almost the end. He definitely had a really good life. He was optimistic and joyous. A lot of this time was spent in this fake optimism, which got him to experience cancer at some point in his life. And that's when he completely changed his life, because he realized that it was actually in his lungs and that he wasn't breathing fully, that he wasn't living his life. Yes, he seemed to have all the comforts, and he could go on those vacations. He could afford those things that made him feel good temporarily. But that wasn't long-term happiness. And he was told by a shaman that he had to completely change his life, that he had to alter it. And he changed his life radically. He quit his job. He transformed his life entirely. However, even from that point, and he was, again, really happy, very optimistic. But I know that he died holding back. I know that he died not actually tuning in to his purpose. Holding back, waiting for the right time to make some steps. And the right time never came until one morning, a healthy 59-year-old man just died. That terrified me. The potential of that, and this brings tears to my eyes, it terrified me of how a lot of people live life, moving through life, thinking we're creating this bulletproof life that really isn't so, and just wasting our resources in all the wrong things. And then life happens, these big events that are actually catalysts. They're so powerful. They're incredible catalysts. I know that my dad's death was the most amazing thing that could have happened. It happened at the right time. His soul had an agenda, mine did too, and it was perfect, beautiful, powerful co-creation. But those moments are not seen like that by many. By many that don't swim out on the other side of that, it seems just like my life is, that's it, and I can't come out. And some people actually do go towards suicide, like I wanted to. Live your life fully. You deserve to live your life fully. You deserve to create this truly bulletproof life. So over the next 6 videos, I will be sharing with you examples from my life, examples from the life of my clients, and what is it that really created that shift, because my clients have these transformations, like incredible transformations within 3-6 months of our work together. They come in, just, you can even feel it by their body, just like it's all down, and then they're lit up, they're alive again. And the metaphor that I love to use is like a lantern. If you have, I actually thought that I had one in here, but now I have a candle. A lantern, we all have that light within us. We were born bright. We're supposed to live our purpose. We came here with a plan of, yes, I want to live my greatest life. I want to feel good. I want to spread that goodness, because that's what comes naturally when we feel abundant. We can't help but radiate that. We want to share this with others. That is the intention that we came here with. However, you have this beautiful lantern, and then we covered it up with dirt and mud and belief systems that aren't even our own, that come from other people. Expectations, musts and shoulds that we put on others, that we put on ourselves, that we project onto others, that we accept as our own. And this beautiful lantern, the light just can't be seen because there is layers of mud and dirt on it. within the few months that I work with my clients, we shift that completely. We clean up the dirt, and I teach them how is it that you don't actually have to accumulate that dirt. And it's a lot easier when that lantern is clean again to see, oh, there's a little bit of dirt. I know how to address this. I know how to deal with this, whether it's self-doubt, whether it's feeling of not enoughness, whether I can't do it, I feel less than, whatever those things come up, you know how to deal with it. So over the next 6 videos, I want to share with you what worked for other people, what worked for me, and what will work for you if you apply it. So again, make sure to subscribe and the notification button. I'm not even sure if YouTube still does those, so that you don't miss the next videos, and share this with somebody that you want to see thriving, somebody that you know is just not in a place where they could be, and that you know that this will support them in living their best life. So you guys can watch together or separately, because we have our own journeys. However, it is really great when you can share this experience with another person. So subscribe, make sure you get a notification, and I'm wishing you such a powerful day.